Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about a movie called Antlers. Why am I the way that I am? Antlers is a creature horror movie done by Scott Cooper, who's done other movies like Ladder 49, Hostiles, Out of the Furnace, but no previous work in the horror genre. Antlers follows Julia Meadows, played by Keri Russell, as she starts to figure out her life after having come back to a town where she grew up, is now a teacher, and is now processing through what we're told is her grief from an abusive father. One of her students, named Lucas, seems very withdrawn but imaginative. One day, she finds an art book of his full of these terrifying drawings. She later finds out that both his father and his younger brother are missing and that his mother is deceased. As she starts to investigate this further, that's when the horror begins. I love myself a good creature horror movie, so I thought I would check this one out headed into the weekend of the 31st of October. Halloween. So my friend Jake and I went to go check it out together. This movie had some great visual concepts and some good audio concepts near the beginning, though through the rest of the movie those audio concepts kind of dwindled, I thought. But this movie had a ton of flaws. So with that, let's get into the 6 things that make a movie great. 1. The plot. The plot of this movie is pretty basic. Small town woman returns to the small town she grew up in, is processing through her grief, finds the boy, is trying to save the boy from what looks to be a bad home situation, turns into a creature horror movie. But none of that surfaces in the commercials. You go into this movie thinking that it's purely a creature horror movie, and then it kind of hits you with a subplot of domestic abuse and even borderline sexual abuse. It's not that I don't think that challenging topics like that should be talked about in movies. I just don't think it did this movie any favors. And the thing is that they didn't go anywhere with that. It basically came to the point where it was like, yeah, this boy's clearly been through abuse. And Keri Russell's character was just like, yeah, I knew that because I've been abused. And that was it. And I think that a lot of the time that they spent trying to very loosely maneuver this idea of domestic abuse during a creature horror movie was really distracting, and it didn't do either side favors. They didn't go anywhere with it, and all that time they could have used to make the plot of the actual movie better. All of it ends up falling a bit flat for me, which was too bad because this movie had potential. So overall, I have to give the plot a thumbs down. 2. Family friendliness. This movie's not family friendly at all. It's very gory, very bloody. There are challenging topics and some triggering things that you see having to do with domestic abuse. A lot of profanity. A lot of the graphic shots are shocking and they are well done, but family friendliness gets a thumbs down. 3 is acting and script. The acting in this movie is pretty good. I think that my favorite actor in the whole movie was Graham Greene, who plays Warren Stokes, who's the old sheriff of this town. The problem is that he's in this movie for under 3 minutes. And it's really unfortunate because he's in every single commercial, but then when it comes to the actual movie, he just kind of tells these people about the legend of the Wendigo. It sucks because he's a fantastic actor, and I think if they spent less time with the domestic abuse subplot, they could have incorporated him and the actual lore of the Wendigo into the movie a lot more. I think that would have benefited the movie, 1, because of his acting ability, but 2, because he would have focused on the creature more and less on that, which is a huge bummer. Keri Russell did a great job acting. The script, I think, was poorly written. They wanted to include too much, and it didn't benefit the movie at all. It builds up, and there's some crazy things that happen, and then it just kind of just fizzles and dies. So acting and script gets a thumbs down. 4 is character development. This one's interesting because they tried to develop the characters for probably a third of the movie, and I think they did a decent job, but again, that subplot didn't do this movie any favors. It didn't really do anything for the characters either. None of it amounted to anything. I want to give it a thumbs up because they tried to develop the characters, but since it didn't go anywhere and it didn't add to their characters at all, I'm just going to give it 50-50. 5 is CG. I like the creature graphics in this movie. They were pretty good. Some of the computer graphics that you see as far as the creature goes are pretty well done. I think this movie spent most of its budget on that. So thumbs up to CG. And 6 is rewatchability. even though this movie had some potential, it ended up falling flat overall, and it came across just like a cheap horror movie. It's kind of more disappointing to me because it was trying to be a legitimate horror movie, but ended up coming across like a cheap horror movie. Not to mention the fact that at the end of this movie, they do something really stupid, which is, it's the most terrible decision that you can make in movie making, in my opinion. I was really mad about that. So overall, rewatchability gets a huge thumbs down. All in all, I really wanted to like this movie. It had some amazing shots. It had an interesting take on the Wendigo, but everything else fell flat. There was no amazing character performances. Graham Greene wasn't in this movie enough. And the overall climax of the film and the payoff just wasn't good enough for me to give this movie a great rating. I have to give this movie a 5.5 out of 10. So I would not recommend using your money to go watch this movie in theaters, even for Halloween. If you're looking for a free movie or on Netflix, watch The Ritual. The Ritual is a creature horror movie, and in my opinion, it's one of the best horror movies that I've ever seen. And I think it did a much better job than Antlers did as far as involving the creature and being able to see what it does. So that's my recommendation for you on Halloween. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a very safe and fun Halloween. Don't be dumb. Watch out for dumb people. Enjoy the holiday with friends and family. Thank you for all your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.
You mess with the bull, you get the horns.